License, that's a good question. So, question being, how do you keep your players interested in the story, and how does the plot move around their decisions? I think the answer is sort of connected to each other. Like, I think the way to keep players invested is largely providing interesting decisions that do have consequence. Because the thing that differentiates, well, one of the many ways that D&D is differentiated from other types of games you can play is that you can improvise in a way that other games don't necessarily. It's not easy to allow. Even in the most like open world, you can do anything type of like video game you could imagine. There are still limitations to what you can actually do, especially when it comes to interacting with characters in the world. So I think, in my experience, when players sort of realize that that's the case and that their creativity can really kind of reach, that's what sort of connects, sort of fires them up about the game. And then you just have to make sure that they never feel like they're kind of in a tunnel or in a hallway that's going down a path and it doesn't matter. Some of that you can sort of get ahead of by making sure that you're sort of planning or preparing to fail. That's why I call brainstorming streams that, is because to some extent it's more important to think about the unexpected outcomes and how you can react to those ahead of time more than thinking about the happy path, like this is kind of the way the adventure will probably go, which sometimes it does go that way. Try planning your D&D sessions from the center out. Start with the interactions your players can have and then fit them into the world. That's how I designed a recent session I ran. I have 4 players, and they were set to steal something from an auction house. My halfling bard has a bit of a romance with a dwarven politician. I'll make sure she's invited. My tiefling rogue definitely wants to sneak and break into rooms he shouldn't be in. So plenty of security and tricky doors. I think where DMs feel players pulling back is when they start to feel like they're following like the DM story and maybe not following, where the story takes everybody. And that is a careful balance, because I also think that players should participate in the premise that's put before them. Sometimes, players will think that they can sort of like troll the DM and troll the whole experience by like, oh, that's interesting. There's all this stuff in town. Let's leave town. Let's go north. Let's just see what's out there in the wilds. And I mean, 1 or 2 jokes here or there is one thing, but if that's a constant push and pull between the DM and players, it's probably not a good matchup at the table. So, I mean, at the end of the day, it's everybody collaborating together is how you get get the best outcome. I can't tell you how, like, have you guys seen that? Oh gosh, I guess I should just leave it alone. I've seen that term titterpig used, and initially I was like, what are they talking about? And I saw it pop up again, and I'm like, oh no, this is a thing. It's so solving the problem with exactly the wrong. It's going the wrong direction. You know what I mean? Because the problem is that when you say TTRPGs, nobody knows what you're talking about. So they're like, okay, we'll make this more approachable. Let's call them titterpigs, and it's like we're just obfuscating the core game here. Why now we've got a cutesy? Now we've got this whole other concept that like. Well, these are specifically these all fall under these are just examples. Wow, so we've done 6 of those. Meet Igneous Root, a turtle that you'd be happy to see coming your way in the Underdark. Well, maybe. Igneous is the latest character we created on my miniature painting stream, Every Mini is a Character. So Igneous here, he's a monster hunter, but not a run-in and fight type of monster hunter. More like he knows that rare owlbear will be drawn to this particular root that grows on the north side of the mountain, so he's going to spend 4 months locating that root and using it to track the monster in an hour type of monster hunter. I guess so. I guess we've done 6 of those. A character concept like T. Oh, now we're getting truly meta. Math wizard. Yeah, Sebastian, I think you're probably right. Well, it's just it's more sort of meandering, right? It's more sort of I don't know. So yeah, you won't hear me saying Titterpig. It's not. So this isn't new. So in the past, I've created these sort of like kind of prototype adventures for some kind of really like big ideas that I have, and I kind of put them together in this very sort of straightforward, you know, kind of folded way. But I have a lot of stuff, and this is still big picture something I'm doing, but I also have a lot of ideas that don't necessarily need to be full adventures, like something that's maybe 2 or 3 or 4 pages at most, in a layout that's a little bit more traditional, like what people expect. And if I had something like this with like formatting and elements and things that I could work with, I think I think I could take some of these ideas and playtest them and actually release them. So the idea, it's a little bit meta, I guess, the work here, because it's not necessarily like trying to. I mean, this is all copy from this adventure that I've previously written up, but it's just because I'd rather use it as like stand-in copy versus lorem ipsum or something like that. If you're familiar with lorem ipsum, I'm not a fan of dummy copy, but I'm also not a fan of these fonts. So let's see what I can do